Hey Noah, Coach Yannick here. I just want to make a quick video. I just noticed something I practiced yesterday in your setup, and it's something that Mika's online coach pointed out to me about kind of the arm position, the bottom hand arm position, and how where it should be, and kind of how you guys have it. You guys are very similar in where you have your arm. Um, I can talk about a couple of different things here. It's going to be kind of an all over the place video, but I'll do my best here. This app does have an angle tool that I can show you the angles here and everything, but every time I use it, it kind of messes up the video. So I'll just draw regular lines. But what I'm talking about um, is the angle of this arm here. So you got something like 80, 85 degrees when I measured it. All right. And your arm's very kind of going vertical here, and this is pointed down at your belly button. So what we do want to see is your arms to be more across your chest or across the letters, the letters on the jersey. So um, that's the adjustment that I want you to make, especially in your ISO drills. We want to get our arms, because there we can control everything easily. So let's get our arms in the right position so you can kind of learn how to get comfortable with that. So um, the non-negotiable item, I'll just re-emphasize here, is palm direction. So we want our palm facing out here, and you got your palm facing out there. That's good. Um, Now, I think when you change I'm not going to talk too much about this, but I think when you change your arm angle, your hands are going to end up kind of more over here, so further away from your head and a little lower, because you can see here your hands are almost touching your helmet, right? Whereas here on the right, you can see where his hands are. He's got a lot more room. So um, I know I talked to your dad about your kind of chicken wing through the ball right there. So you got a lot of kind of chicken wing thing going on. I just think that that's a byproduct of you being bunched up at your setup, so your hands are too close to your head and your front arm is too close to your body. So now your brain is smart. It's like I got to get this back arm here space to get through the ball, so I need to get out of the way. So your this arm just works that way to get out of the way to give you that arm space. So we want to give you space right at the start, and then I think you'll be able to extend through the ball better and get more of that through look, because your bottom arm's getting through nicely, but your top arm is still kind of working. So working kind of this way. So I think here, if we get you better set up, you'll have more of that straight through look. So it's nothing we need to work on. I think we just need to fix the setup. All right, so just backing it up here again. Um, Palm direction, which you have. All right. And let's get that arm more across your chest. So something more like this. And that's going to drop your hands a little and get your hands a little further away from your head. All right. Um, and lastly, I think that's going to give your back, uh, your top hand arm, sorry, more of this angle here that we want, because it's going to drop your hands and your elbow won't necessarily need to move very much. Because right now with the setup you have, this is all very straight. All right, so we'd want to get our elbow more behind the bat. It's going to help you with your first move. And when you're doing your ISOs um, right here, you can see that you're in a better position um, than on the left. All right, so your elbow's behind your hands or behind the bat, and you got this bend in your wrist, and your palm is pointing in the correct direction. All right. So the only change I would really make here in your positioning on your ISO drills is we're going to get this arm more like this. All right. And that's going to give you more range of motion, more freedom of space to get your arms through the ball. And I think that's probably going to get rid of that kind of chicken wing look, because even with this difference here on the right compared to this on the left, you're going to see a much better move to the ball. And right about at that point, we can see here where our elbow's slotted, it's still behind our hands, right? Which is good, which is what we want to see. Versus here on the right, where you got this thing totally straight. You can see kind of at that same point, your elbow is working a little bit in front of your hands. All right, so again, these are just some setup changes that we need to make. Nothing that you need to think too hard about. Um, but we want to get the setup correct. And I'll show you just to re-emphasize the point on the arm. All right, so this kind of angle, it's 115 degrees if you care to know. And all the guys do it. All right, it's all the same. All right, so how are you going to do that in your setup? Well, you're going to have to kind of work at it. I haven't taken any videos um, face on, but you can see what these guys, that's Mike Trout, all right? What these guys do to give themselves space is you can see this is probably 90 degrees. So their elbow's not down in front of them, it's out in front of them. All right, so you got Trout there, looks like probably 90 degrees. And this is Julio Rodriguez. Zoom this in. You'll see him, same, pretty much. See there. All right. So his elbow's out in front of him, and that's going to help give you some space to move the bat. And if I pull you up here again, see, I think your elbow is just really down, really close to your body here. So I think you're going to need to move it out and away from you a little bit. So it's not just reducing this angle, you're going to move that elbow out and away from you a little bit. And then you're going to get your hands probably more down there. All right. And again, that's going to be big on the ISO drills, is to get that going, to get that, you know, feeling somewhat comfortable for you. And then we're going to keep the knob to the catcher. Now, to keep the knob to the catcher, you're going to have a little bit of rotation in your shoulders. I think you do here have some rotation. Like you can see here, if if it said Rodriguez on his back, we'd be able to see his name. So his shoulders have rotated away from the pitcher a little bit. Not too much, right? Maybe 10, 20 degrees. But again, they're all the same. You know, there's Griffey at his setup. His shoulders are a little bit away from the pitcher. That helps him get that knob pointing at the catcher. And again, he's got kind of this 90-degree thing going on with his elbow to give himself space. Maybe the last thing I wanted to show you is here, as you can see, when your hands are close to you like this, we would want the knob pointing at the catcher, right? And right here, your knob, this is two-dimensional, but we can see the bottom of your knob, right? Where you can see on the right, well, that's not the same angle, but this knob is probably pointing at the back end of the opposite batter's box, right? We'd want our bat more towards the catcher, and I don't know if I'm explaining this very well, but I think you just need to turn your shoulders just a little bit, and then this knob, we won't see it anymore. It'll be pointed right at the catcher, because right now it's pointing, again, this is two-dimensional, but you got to kind of try to visualize this. This is pointed at the opposite batter's box if it extended out past the catcher. Anyways, kind of lots of information here, but the main thing I'll reemphasize in your setup, especially when you're doing this bottom hand and then the two hand, is we want to get our arm across the letters. So just like that. All right, and a little bit. See, it almost looks like you're rotated slightly open here. So to get the knob to the catcher without it feeling super weird, you're just gonna shorten your shoulders a little bit, um, so that if the pitcher could just kind of barely read your name on the back of your jersey. All right, and then everything else is the same. You're just pulling this knob through the bottom of the knob past the ball.